Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you are listening to me, and welcome to a sad episode. Well, listen, it's a positive episode. It's only sad because it's officially the last episode of this series. If we had a production value, I would play, the audience going, "Oh." Folks, it has been such a fun ride. Oh gosh, it's been so fun. This season has been one of learning, trying to do things right, having to redo episodes, just really trying to figure out how to navigate this podcast business. But I think for the most part, it's been pretty good. I've had some really fun and interesting conversations, and they're really standalone episodes. So if you get time, go back and listen to them. But what's going to be happening is we're going to take probably a kind of like a 4 week break, and just really listen back to a lot of the episodes and prep for a brand new, new lease of life on the episode. So I'm very excited for that because I love kind of innovating and things getting better. So in my head, I'm always racking my head like, how can I get better at these episodes? There's a sense in which when you first start, you're trying to be very prim and proper and professional. And I guess that may come across as quite boring sometimes. And there's other times you're trying to be yourself, but not too much of yourself, such that you get lost. Anyways, all in all, we want to learn from you. So I would love your feedback. LTCS Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Join us. Tell us your thoughts, especially during that break, because we want to come back and not just do the same thing, but come back with a better episode, better structure, so on and so forth. So, yeah, if you've listened so far, thank you. And I really would implore you to follow us on Twitter and Instagram, LTCS Podcast, so that when the new season's ready, you're the first one to find out. Now, today's episode is really good because we're going to be talking about Carnival. Now, I don't know nothing about Carnival. I mean, the last time I went, and I talk about this in the interview you're about to hear, I went with my mum, and, already that's like a red flag. But I went with my mum, and she was holding my hand, and you'll never guess what happened, guys. I got lost, right? So my this is when I was kind of still new to the UK. My mum, I guess, decided Michael, you have to really taste the West Indian culture. So I said, oh well, this is interesting. I went on the podcast to the I was about to say march for a minute. It does feel like a march sometimes because you're always moving. But I went to the carnival and I got lost. And so I've been scarred ever since that happened, and I bring it up in the interview. But we're going to be meeting Nalini, who is just a wonderful woman. I mean, just, you meet, ever so often you meet some people there's just good vibes. They've got a positive energy about them. They're funny. They're really warm. And that was Nalini, and we had a great interview. She's from the Mangrove. Let me get this correct because I always get these things wrong. But she's from the Mangrove Nine Hill Carnival float. So I talked to her about I talked to her all about Carnival, the history of Carnival, Glastonbury versus Notting Hill Carnival. And of course, some of you may not know, and I know some of you definitely know, that Carnival's actually online this year, right? Which is just odd to me. So in this podcast, we actually talk about, just how's it going to work? I mean, can you have Carnival online? Bit odd. But there you go. But before we go into that, just two top stories for you today for you to take a look at when you have time. One is about Naomi Osaka, the tennis player in America, who pulled out of the semifinals in a tennis tournament. I forget which one, but she pulled out in protest as a response, if you like, to Jacob Blake being shot by the police in America. Jacob Blake was another unarmed black man who was shot 7 times in the back whilst reaching into his car by an unarmed police officer. Now, we don't have all the details yet, so I don't want to make any conclusions, but ultimately, what you can say right now is it's definitely excessive police force. It's definitely it harkens our mind back to police brutality. I mean, why are you shooting 7 times in the back an unarmed black man? I mean, why would you do that? There's no reason for that. Now, the folks say there was a warrant out for his arrest. He was resisting arrest. There's all these different things going on. So I'm going to wait till we get more information. But it's led to more protests in a couple of cities in America. And of course, I'm happy Naomi is bringing attention to something like this. We need more things like this. We need more people using their platforms to raise awareness for issues like this. The second news story, of course, is another government failing. You'll remember Boris Johnson was saying that schools which are literally back next week after bank holiday, won't need face coverings. Well, he changed his mind according to the BBC, didn't he? A couple of days after, he said actually schools will be required to use a face covering. Some schools in hotspot areas will be required to use face coverings when they're in communal spaces like corridors and lunch halls and stuff like that. But he said that he's going to give head teachers the flexibility to introduce it in their schools as they see fit. You know, I mean, I kind of, it's hard because whatever I say is just going to be political, right? But Labour have accused the government of passing the buck, right, by just leaving it to the schools. So if there's an outbreak, Labour will say, well, it was down to the discretion of the schools, and it's a great way to just absolve yourself from any responsibility. Messaging's been very off for the Conservative Party, especially on face coverings and masks and PPE more generally. We've seen this from the first few weeks of COVID. It's just really mixed messaging, but we'll see how that goes. Are you confident about your kids going to school? What do you think? I would love to know what you think. The hashtag is LTCS podcast or LTCS. Let me know what you think about this. You know, are you comfortable with kids being in school? I mean, I still feel a bit uneasy about it all. And what if your parents are like high risk, but you're a child, you're meant to be in school? Do you stay at home? I don't know. Anyways, let's talk about Carnival and what's going to happen this year, because it's going to be a very interesting experience this year. Carnival is moving online. It's moving digital. So listen now to my interview with Nalini. And now I'm joined by Nalini from the Mangrove Hill Carnival float. Now, for folks who are wondering or want a bit of intro into Notting Hill Carnival, of course you've heard about it in the news, you've probably seen it on social media. But for the first time this year, the carnival, due to COVID-19, is going to be available online. So you're going to be able to watch still bands, hear soca, dancehall performances from across different platforms and even YouTube. Now, for folks who aren't aware of the scale, it is Notting Hill is officially it's the largest still party in Europe, street party rather, in Europe, and the second largest festival in the world, with an estimated 2 million people attending over the 2 days. The first one was all the way back in 1966, and I can't imagine then people thought there would be some sort of a pandemic that would stop it from happening. Nalini, how do you feel about this year? And just talk me through how COVID has just changed everything.
Firstly, I am sad that it's not happening. It's something that I know that a lot of the carnival community look forward to. That, and it's not just those 2 days, it's the lead up to those 2 days. So for me, it starts in July, being at the mass camp, which is what masqueraders camp, where we make all the costumes, being surrounded by the sound of steel bands. So Mangrove is unique in that we've got the steel band, orchestra, and we have the masqueraders. So it's feathers and it's music and it's just everything in one, and I love it. And I have to say it's weird not having it this year. I understand why we're not, and I want everybody to be, safe and well, so that we can come back bigger and better next year. I am looking forward to the digital carnival, though. I feel that if anything has happened, and to look into like the positives of everything else, that we've now been able to do Notting Hill Carnival digitally. We've been able to take it to another level. And I have to absolutely give everybody at Carnival HQ a big clap, because they are going bigger and better to try and make it as a vibe as it can be for people to enjoy it at home.
Well, some people might be just thinking, and even just speaking, I'm thinking like, I went to Carnival one time.
One time
when I was, I think I was, it was when I first came to the UK actually. So I came when I was 5. I think I would have been around maybe 12 or 13. And my mum and dad decided that, I ought to get one of the quintessential British experiences, which is going to Carnival. So we went and I had to hold their hand. So this was not like the Carnival experience that all young people have today. I was holding my mum's hand and I got lost.
Oh gosh. Okay, I can see why that would discard you. Yeah, especially in the middle of a crowd, like a big crowd of people.
Because it just seemed like so many people.
Yeah.
But one thing I do remember though is thumping music, people having the time of their life. Are you slightly? I mean, what are your thoughts? Do you think you can capture that kind of rich? And I also remember the smells, like just walking through and be like, "What's that? What's that?" kind of thing. I had that kind of my emotions were being played with. Put it that way.
Every single sense is just tingling. For just this as an example, I usually get to our carnival base very, very early in the morning before everybody arrives, and some of the stall holders who are either selling like flags and whistles or are serving like amazing food, they camp out and they're waking up and they're just about, you can hear like the jerk pan sizzling, like it's like the whole like getting ready kind of experience. And then it just takes for one sound system to go off, and then they all go off. And then there's people in feathers and there's glitter, and it's just so flamboyant, and I love it. But what I'm trying to do with my my family and my friends is to basically try and recreate that experience safely in our own home. We're fortunate that we've got a very big garden, and we're keeping to the COVID rules, so there's only 30. So we're trying to link it. So one set of 30, because I come from a big family. One set of 30, then another set of 30 in another house, and we're just going to try and do something like that. But we're ordering food from a lot of places that would have served food on the stalls during Carnival, because they're being affected. This is people's livelihoods. There's some people who need to have that income from doing Carnival. So trying to support them as much as we possibly can. We will be streaming the YouTube on the Sunday and the Monday, so it's going to be live on YouTube, and they've got 4 stages. So they've got the sound system stage. I think what else they've got. I think they've got masqueraders. So they're trying to encourage people to enjoy it from home, and coming from somebody who's quite central within the Carnival community, but also with my family, who I've grown up going to Carnival all the time. I've grown up in Mangrove. It's something that we couldn't let the weekend go by without at least acknowledging it, if that makes sense. And I'm fortunate that a lot of my friends over the years, who might not be from a West Indian background, who are used to Carnival, and they come from all over the place, are actually joining in as well and having their own little like Carnival parties over the weekend, which is great, which I'm looking forward to. So there will be patties, and there will be jerk chicken, and there will be rum punch, and there's going to be loud music. And my sister's going to put on her costume from last year. I'll wear a headdress because I don't wear costume, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to have a good time.
I want to talk to you about that Mangrove flow. But you said something that's so interesting to me, which is obviously you've been growing to Carnival all your life.
Yeah.
Going to Carnival, and I would love to get your thoughts on like how you see it, because of course it's a celebration of Western culture, but at the same time, as I kind of mentioned, it's a key part of the kind of summer calendar now for a lot of people, even West Indian, who come along and see it as like a quasi-British thing. I mean, how do you see it? Something totally separate.
So my dad is Trinidadian. So Trinidad Carnival, you can't touch Trinidad Carnival. It is its own entity. It's completely unique. Notting Hill Carnival is its own entity in itself. And what I love about Notting Hill Carnival is that it literally is for everybody. Even though it had stemmed from the West Indian culture, it came off the back of Trinidad Carnival. Anybody and everybody can enjoy it. And I think that in itself also represents London and how diverse it is. It doesn't matter what race, what gender you are, what age you are, the fact that you've got kiddie carnival on the Sunday and you see the little kids, some of them in their pushchair half asleep, but they're in the costume with their little noise cancelling headphones. And then there's other ones who probably can dance better than I can. And they're just enjoying it. And then you've got what I love to call the adult day on Monday, where you just rock out and you just don't care if your trainers get mashed up or you lost one earring. You're just having the best time of your life. So I think they're 2 completely separate things. And I love that it is inclusive. I also love the fact that it is central to Ladbroke Grove and Notting Hill, which you've got, it's such a juxtaposition because you've got council estates and then you've got 40 million pound houses, sometimes even more within that area. And then that one weekend of the year, everybody comes together. And it's just like, we're all equal and we're all there to have a good time. And it just, it gives me tingles just thinking about it. I love it. I love it. It's like one big party. And I hope that it continues. I will do whatever I can to help my band, to help any other bands. It's something that I've introduced to lots of friends. I have friends that come all over the place that come to Notting Hill Carnival. And I hope that it's around for my kids so that they can be the little children in the pushchairs with their noise cancelling headphones, half asleep and then waking up asking for a Capri Sun and then wanting to go and dance. That's what I look forward to for the future. I don't want, and I know that in the past there have been talks of it being cancelled or being moved. It is, you can't move it. It's called Notting Hill Carnival. It can't go anywhere else. It can't go to Hyde Park. It can't go to Wormwood Scrubs. It's Notting Hill Carnival. And it's central to that area. It's, as you said, it's part of the summer calendar for London. There is nothing else like it. Pride is great and all the Pride festivals that they do, but nothing else can touch it. Literally, last year they had 2.5 million people. I've never seen that many people on the road. The weather was amazing, which probably encouraged more people to come out. But I kind of feel that more people, where they used to go away for the bank holiday weekend to get out of London, or go to festivals, because like Reading Festival's at the same time of that, more people are now coming to Notting Hill Carnival because it is a vibe. It's unlike any other festival. The fact that you can just walk around and you see so many different things, you've got different music going on. It's the best free festival in the world, honestly.
I mean, this is one of the reasons, I guess. You said kind of an idea that is it sustainable? Will it carry on? Of course, as more and more people come, is the current location actually capable of kind of holding those people? I know I spoke about when I was younger. This is I don't know. I don't want to give away my age, but let's just say a while ago.
Okay.
I got lost in the crowd. There's a lot more people there now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
As the numbers grow, I mean, what do you see for the future? Some have said that, or the fact that we're having a virtual carnival this year. This is how it's gonna be for the next few years or so. And maybe this is a new era of virtual kind of whatever. Others have said, as you made mention of, because just the sheer number and the size and the difficulty in terms of safety and stuff like that, to be moved into somewhere else. What are your thoughts on some of those things?
It can't be, I don't think it could be moved anywhere. It belongs in Notting Hill. It's that whole area of Ladbroke Grove has such a rich, diverse history for Black culture, full stop. In terms of safety, we always, regardless of whatever festival, you always learn from the past festivals and how to improve it and how to make it safe for its users. For example, for Mangrove, we're a big band, as you said, we're a big band, and we go out with, I think one year we had 4 vehicles. So you have like a certain amount of vehicles per carnival band on the road. So on the Monday we had 4 vehicles, and because we're so large, we have to have we get like assigned police support officers who are with us on the road. Anything goes wrong, they're with us, and they're all connected and communicating with each other. And that's the same for other bands. For other big bands, they have a police support, and they meet with us and they speak to us beforehand. They understand who are the key people within in the band are, so they know if they need to get to somebody. We have to give them numbers. We have to basically give them an idea of like the schedule for performing artists as well, and that makes such a difference. Dog talking.
In your house, I see.
It is. Everybody is currently celebrating because of the single coming out. But so that's key to what we have to do for the band's safety and the user's safety. Last year we had over 1,000 people take part with Mangrove, which is a lot of responsibility. It's doable, but it's a way that working with the Met to keep everybody safe. there are things that can be approved, but that's the same for any event. I work in live stage productions, and I also work with the NBA. And every year, you've got to evaluate the safety protocols, health and safety protocols of wherever you are, even if it's the same stadium, things change. It's just making sure that it's kept up to date and everybody's smart and wise on the road and adhere to the rules.
Well, tell me a bit, because you mentioned a couple of times there about Mangrove Park or the float. Like, what's your role in it? Because I know you're part of the float. Can anyone?
So,
is there a process? How does it work?
So, as I said, I grew up with it. My dad was a prominent member of Mangrove. He was one of the Mangrove Nine. So we won't get into that, but that's another important thing about Black history. Yeah.
Sounds really interesting.
The Mangrove Nine. I'll just break it down really quickly. There used to be a lot of racial tension in Britain in the 60s and the 70s, with a lot of people coming over from the West Indies, just not being accepted by the Londoners. And I'm sure people have seen old kind of pictures where it said like no blacks, no Irish, no dogs, and they weren't allowed in like certain restaurants, certain buildings. They weren't accepted, but they were accepted. A lot of people from the West Indies moved into Ladbroke Grove, and they set up businesses. And one of the businesses on All Saints Road was called the Mangrove Restaurant. And there used to be a special department within the police force that just dealt with black crime. And they, for whatever reason, kept targeting the Mangrove Restaurant and kept raiding it. And it got to the point where they had enough, the community had enough, and they went on a protest. And 9 men and women were arrested and had false charges placed against them, including my dad. And they went to trial. It's the longest Old Bailey trial in history. Apparently one of the most expensive Old Bailey trials. And at least 3, I wasn't born then. I was born in 1986. So this is way past my time on earth. But it's well known because Darkest Howl was one of the Mangrove Nine, and he represented himself. Anyway, from that became the Mangrove Community, which then became Mangrove Steel Band, which then became Mangrove Mass Band. So that's the kind of evolution of Mangrove. It's all I've known. I play steel pan with them, not to the sort of level of Panorama, which are the people that can actually play pan without looking at the notes. I need my notes. I haven't got muscle memory like that. I'm getting better. But my involvement with them is I'm quite artistic. And I put my production skills to use to help get them organized. So I help mainly in terms of the masquerade camp and getting things kind of organized and sorted on the road. It's a small team, and we all get on very, very well, which I think when you're working with people in such close proximity for such like an intense period, you would expect there to be a lot of ruckus, but there isn't. And I think the main reason of that is because I've grown up with these people. I know these people, and it's kind of like a generation thing. Their parents are part of Mangrove years ago, and then their kids are part of Mangrove. So you literally become one big family. Like, you know everybody, and everybody knows you. Yeah. So that's what I do. I kind of help arrange whatever needs to be done, sort out the drinks that go on the bar, work on, like, help with the schedules, sign people up, make sure that people have their food on the road, sort out the packs. I get in there wherever I can to do what needs to be done.
That's absolutely amazing. I mean, I'm just thinking about this brings together the community in such a powerful way. Like, I don't know what else could bring people together like that.
Do you know what? I can't think of anything else that brings, apart from pride, I can't think of anything else that brings people together. And people from all over. They're people that fly in from Trinidad. There are people that fly in from Jamaica, St. Lucia, Barbados. Like, they come in. There's people that fly in. For example, from Mangrove Steel Band, the arranger who's the guy that kind of composes everything for the Panorama competition, he's from New York. And then there's another person who's from Florida that flies in. Then we've got people that fly in from St. Lucia to play pan, and they'll find a place to stay, and they will stay there for like sometimes 6 weeks, They've taken time off work, and they'll just stay there and practice to be part of Mangrove Steel Band and play with the band. We have French guys that come in all the time from France, and which I think is amazing. They give themselves like 2 weeks to learn absolutely everything. And I'm looking at them and go, you can do that without notes? Wow, like you've literally just come in and you've just learned the truth. You're good on you. You know, it's very inclusive, and it just draws a lot of people in. And it's not just black people, it's white people as well, it's Indian people, it's Chinese people, it's Japanese, it's everybody. And I love it. I absolutely love it. And I hope that it continues. I pray that it continues, because my kids need to see this, my grandkids need to see this, my great grandkids need to see this and be part of this. That is the dream. That is the absolute dream.
So even, I mean, just hearing you speak about it and the excitement and the...
You need to go. Do you know what? We're gonna get over your fear of getting lost. Do you know what? This is what I tell people. My dad obviously grew up in Ladbroke Grove, but we the family house is in Shepherd's Bush. And as a teenager, he used to make me and my sisters, because I'm one of three, I'm the middle one. He used to take us around Ladbroke Grove and we'd just go walking. And then when it came to Carnival, he goes, you know the route now. And I was like, oh, I had no clue that it was his way of teaching us to know our area and get used to the area. However, if you haven't been to Carnival for a while and you're not great with crowds, my best advice to anybody when Carnival's back on is to go with a band. You go with a band, you get a t-shirt. So for example, with Mangrove, you can either do costume, if you're brave enough to be out there in costume. I'm not. My sister, she's amazing. She looks great in costume. But you can do fun mass, which usually with us, it's you get a t-shirt, you get a rucksack, you get unlimited drinks for the day. And I literally mean unlimited drinks for the day, and that includes alcohol. You get food on the road, and you're with the band. You can be within the ropes of the band. We have a support vehicle, so if you're tired and you need like a little rest, you had too much to drink, you can go on the bus, you can just sit on the bus and chill for a bit. Then you can come back and join the band, and you're free to go out. If you see somebody on the road, you can go out and come back and meet the band. It's the best thing for somebody who hasn't done Carnival. So when we're back on the road, you are coming with me, Mike. I'm taking you with me. You're going to have the best time ever. You're not going to get lost. It's fine. Find my friend who works on the iPhone too, so I will find you if you get lost.
That's good. I mean, listen, you've half convinced me there. I'm looking forward to seeing how the kind of virtual thing works.
Same.
Interesting to see how the energy is captured. I mean, to be fair, in this conversation we're having, like I'm still somewhat excited because of about it. So I think it's still possible.
It is still possible, and I know a lot of people who would be wearing costume now. I'll put on their old costumes, and they're going to have their own carnival in the house. Our rum punch is brewing at the moment. Yeah. We've got it ready. We've got it ready for Sunday. It's going to be lit. I don't know how long it's going to last for. I think we're going to have to make some more thinking about it. One of these big Joey cats. I think it's a blessing, because it then means that when it does, Carnival goes back to the way that it should be, that they will hopefully include a digital element to it, so that people around the world can see what London can do. And as you said, it's the second biggest street festival in the world, and it needed to have a digital element to it. Trinidad Carnival, you can watch online, you can watch Panorama online, you can watch elements of Carnival online. So I'm hoping that moving forward, that we can continue that the Carnival organisers and everybody at Carnival HQ can continue some sort of element of that, so that it's not just for COVID, that it is part of what's going to be Carnival's future.
Yeah, I think it's one thing that's clear to see, and even moving beyond Carnival, just for everything really, is COVID's really forced us to think digital, hasn't it?
It has.
Here, experience what is we do,
and we have the technology. We have the technology to do it. Like I said, I work with the NBA. So, for example, they're in what we've called the bubble, and they're in there for 3 months. It's in Orlando, Florida, and it's part of the Disney Resort complex. And it literally is just that's NBA Central. No one else is allowed in or out. Like it's just NBA stuff. And what they've done to allow, because a lot of NBA fans obviously missed out towards the end of the season, what they've done to allow the fans to be part of it is create this digital wall, and you log on to NBA TV and you can basically pay to watch a game and your face comes up on this digital wall. It's the most amazing thing. So it looks like a wall of a crowd. And, you know, it's very interactive, and it's so smart. No one's ever done it before, but it's a smart way of allowing technology to kind of resolve a situation that is now kind of becoming our new normal, if you know what I mean. And again, when things go back to normal, maybe they're going to have an element where, you know, someone who's in China that can't watch a game like the LA Lakers in LA, they have like a digital wall, and then you can still be interactive versus, like, you know, still there's the audience in the stadiums. It's smart. It's a smart way of doing it. And I think technology it can be a hindrance sometimes. Like Siri is always talking to me about stuff and I didn't answer her question. But you know, it also helps. Like I said, find my friends. That you lose someone, you're like, 1 second, let me see where they are. Or someone's like, I've left home. It's like, you've really left home? I can see that you're in your yard still. So, yeah, it's something that I think is important. And as sad as this year has been, I'm really trying to see the positive. And the positive is that I get to be with my family. Working in production, I'm just non-stop. So I'm always flying here, I'm flying there, I'm doing something. So being able to kind of stop and like recheck and just have a moment to myself, understand what a lion is great. Tidy that drawer in your house that, you know, you just chuck things in. I don't have that drawer anymore. So all those elements to it, and just reconnecting with people. It's just been absolutely wonderful. And learning how to do something that I might not have been able to do before. And I feel like everybody else is doing that, and organisations are doing that. Yeah. And I feel that's what Notting Hill Carnival have done. It's great, absolutely great.
It's like a massive recalibration. Everyone's just
it really is.
And just doing things. Listen, let's end with something fun. So here's something we do called Change My Mind. And essentially, here's what it is. I'm going to read you a statement, and you've got 1 minute to change my mind. And probably the mind of some of our listeners about that statement.
Go ahead.
Statement isn't what I believe. This was actually put together by the producer of this podcast. So if anyone's angry about the statement, please send your emails to statement. I'm going to read it out, and you've got 1 minute to change it.
Right.
Here's the first statement. Soccer music is overrated.
Oh, no. It's not overrated. Definitely not. And this is coming from somebody who is a Trinidadian. So, of course, I'm a soca lover. I will always be a soca lover. Soca is not overrated. It's just not embraced as much within the music industry as it should be. It's very kind of diluted to the West Indian culture. However, my best friend, who no one can see behind me, Alexandra Burke, here, X Factor winner, is going to be releasing a soca tune. So hopefully the British public will be embracing it very, very soon. So it's not overrated. You just need to listen to it more. There's one track that I might send you a playlist. Do you know what? People that come back with negative comments, I'm going to send you a playlist, and I'm going to convert you all.
That was good. That was pretty good.
I'm literally going to send you a playlist. I'm going to email you afterwards.
Right. Okay. Well, I'll let folks can let us know. You can use the hashtag LTCS online. Let us know. Was that convincing? Are you convinced? There's the second one.
As a second one. Okay.
Glastonbury has a larger cultural presence.
I'm going to say no. Glastonbury doesn't have a large cultural presence. There are more people that attend Notting Hill Carnival. What Glastonbury has in comparison to Notting Hill Carnival is probably more money thrown at it. It gets more media attention. It gets more positive media attention than Notting Hill Carnival. It's got the backing of the BBC, so you can watch it across their channels. You can watch it on iPlayer. You can watch it on their website. It literally comes down to the fact that they knew the right people at the right time that were willing to support it. you know, so and so's best friend is so and so's best friend. This is a great idea. Let's monopolize on this. I hope and I wish and I pray that Notting Hill Carnival, with the digital element that it's doing, will hopefully get the same recognition that Glastonbury gets in terms of media. And I hope that that what happens moving forward, and that it is on TV and that people can watch it wherever they are around the world. But you know what? It's on YouTube, so everybody can watch it all around the world. So in that respect, it's bigger than Glastonbury. So there we go. This year we are bigger than Glastonbury. Nothing happened for Glastonbury this year. It was reruns. So we are technically the biggest online music festival for 2020. So take that, Glastonbury. There you go. We don't need the BBC.
Right. You're absolutely right. You know, I just don't think we need, you know, the mainstream media, whatever it is, to kind of acknowledge or just
I don't know if people are afraid of how big Carnival is, and that it's an institution set up by Black people. Let's be honest. It started by Black people. It is huge. It generates a lot of money for London. Like you cannot book a hotel in London, in the West London area for around that time. It's impossible. You literally have to sofa surf if you want to stay as close to the Carnival as possible. And I honestly feel that with certain people and certain institutions are afraid of it, because it's like, wow, Black people have done this.
Yeah, they've come together.
And they've come together, and they're still together, and they're united. And 50 plus years later, it's just getting bigger and better every year. But as I said, it's not just exclusive to Black people. It is for everybody. So it's for everybody to embrace. But I do honestly feel that is an underlying issue with some institutions. And I'm doing that with quotation marks. I'm not saying everybody, but with some people.
Yeah. No, and I think you've made mention of it. Glastonbury has a lot of money thrown at it. And it's very similar. I mean, of course, we know that Carnival's unique. For the most part, it's a music festival. It's a celebration of culture. So I don't see why they get perhaps the headlines in the mainstream media, because ultimately, you know, they are celebrating culture for one of the better. But one just has a different leadership and a different.
And one seems to get more negative press than the other, and I'm so sick of that. I'm so sick that you constantly read about the number of arrests and all the negative connotations with Carnival, where it's so completely diluted compared to Glastonbury. They have more drug incidences, more stabbings, more I wouldn't say arrests. I don't know how you get arrested in Glastonbury. I'm sure that there's like a Glastonbury jail or what have you, but there's more of that. But you don't hear that. You don't hear that at all. You see is people enjoying the mud and being happy as Larry, and this headline at that stage. You don't hear any of the negative stuff. Whereas with Carnival, that's all you seem to hear about. And what I've loved with the new Notting Hill Carnival organisation is that they have really fought against that with the Met Police and with the press to try and make it more positive news. And the fact that they've now got ambassadors who are key people within different elements of whatever industry they're in, that they're working in, to kind of champion Carnival and do more publicly for Carnival. I'm kind of hoping that it does move in the right direction, that we don't have to look at headlines on the Tuesday saying, you know, this amount of people were arrested and this amount of police were hurt. I've seen so many police on that road rocking out, and I'm thinking, you're not watching anything on the road. You're just dancing with this girl. You're squashed between this person. I didn't know you can get down that low in your uniform. How can you do that in a police vest?
I've seen a lot of those kind of videos on social media where like one of the police officers just puts his baton down for a minute and having a bit of
wine. Yes, and they've got a lot of them have moves. A lot of them have got some very, very good moves. And you know that they don't want to be working, so they're just going to enjoy it. You can't help it. You see them and they're trying really hard, like not to move their shoulders and move their feet. And I'm just like, yeah, I'm trying to be like a professional here, but you just can't help it. Like I was saying, like our police officers, they really embrace the Carnival culture. They really embrace the band. They will send their police vests to us beforehand to get gemmed up, so that they're part of the band. Or like if we have spare material, we'll add the material and we gem them up so they literally are part of the band. And it's lovely. It's lovely. A lot of the police are like that. there are I've hardly seen any incidences where it's been negative. Of course, there are little pockets of these things, but all I ever see, and this is in my 34 years, and I don't care, give you my age, 34 years of being part of Carnival, all I've ever seen is love, joy, happiness, and dancing, and okay, a couple of drunk people, but that's just because they drank the Ray Nephew. You just got to stay away from the Ray Nephew.
On that piece of sound advice.
Don't mix, people, just stick to one spirit.
I just want to thank you, Nalini, for coming on and just helping us, understand a bit more. I'm so happy that Notting Hill is taking control of its own narrative, and I think that's one of the powerful things that having your own online platform. There's no gatekeeper, there is no editor.
Yeah.
Tell people what you want to see, and really kind of take control of the narrative. So I look forward to watching.
Yes.
And I hope folks listening too will have a watch and see what it's like. And I hope after Carnival, if you like, maybe we'll try and schedule another conversation.
Yes.
How you think it went?
That'll be great. And I'll be sending you the soca playlist. I'm also going to send you a rum punch recipe that is very easy to make for you lot to all enjoy. So I hope you can put it up on your site so that, your viewers can enjoy it, so that they can have a little sip while they're watching the Carnival on the Sunday, and on the Monday it's on the YouTube. So when you log onto YouTube, it'll be on the main home screen, which has never been done before. And then I believe there's 4 different channels, and I can't remember all the channels, but they've put it on their website, and it's also on their Instagram. And I hope and I pray, and I'm going to hold you to this, when we're back on the road, you are coming with me.
Yeah.
You're not going to get lost. If I need to get one of those, those child harnesses, and you're worried,
give me a little tug if I'm.
I got you. Okay.
Thank you so much for taking part.
You're welcome.
I hope you have a really, really great time with your family and friends.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye, Mike.